After which he realized that it was time to apply the doctrine of cyber warfare, use a new weapon, a two-pole gun. Taking out a new weapon, Liu Feng chopped all the zombies attacking him into small pieces, cutting off everyone's arms and legs and blowing off their heads. Seeing that Liu Feng was mercilessly cutting her mutant zombies into small pieces, the High Priestess even shed tears. She felt sorry for her zombies because they died like that. Therefore, she ordered her faithful zombie servants, a mutant of which she herself created, to attack Liu Feng in order to teach him a lesson. Liu Feng was a little shocked to see two of her minions, zombies, mutants whom he had never met before. For a long time, he was no longer that boy who could not do anything and was afraid of everything. So he took his weapon and stuck it into the ground in front of him with all his might. He did this in order to use a super new technique of a two-pole gun, the electric discharge of Zeus. Seeing how Liu Feng fought, Li Xin and Zi Xiuyan realized how strong he was, and that every time he became stronger and stronger. Thanks to his technique, he destroyed one of the zombies. A serious battle broke out between Liu Feng and the zombies. No matter how much he beat the zombies, he didn't care. Realizing that even the new gun could not penetrate the skin of this zombie, Liu Feng decided to use his kung fu glove. Liu Feng used the cyber warfare exercise, the explosive fist technique, to test how tough this zombie's skin was. Thanks to his mega cool glove, he was able to defeat the second assistant of the High Priestess. She understood that Liu Feng was a strong opponent, and she was also saddened by the losses. But despite everything, she said she still has followers. Immediately after her words, the head of the prisoners, nicknamed the Tong Hands, Ti Chan, appeared in the battle arena. But not in the guise as everyone is used to seeing him, but in the mutated form of a zombie. Compared to an ordinary zombie, Ti Chan was simply a giant. He belonged to the elite class, but it was still immature, since its cultivation had not yet been completed. Looking at this overgrown zombie mutant, Liu Feng knew that his double-pole cannon would definitely not cope with him. The High Priestess did not want to wait, so using her telepathic ability to control the zombie, she ordered him to attack everyone. Having received the signal, the mutant zombie obeyed and immediately attacked Liu Feng. But he easily dodged his attack and regrouped, charging his mechanical fist to strike back. He used the explosive fist technique to counterattack the zombies. Well, zombies, mutants, didn't hurt at all, didn't even leave a scratch. Meanwhile, the High Priestess cried out to the Lord, asking him to see what power he had bestowed on her creation. At that moment, Li Xin flew over Zhao, striking the mutant zombie with crushing fire from her machine gun. Getting a little closer, she showed him her martial arts skills. Deadly kicks. After which she jumped to the side with the realization that it would not be easy for them to defeat him. After which she replaced the magazine of her machine gun with an improved one with explosive cartridges, because she understood that such a monster could only be fought with explosive bullets. After the giant mutant zombie fought off all the attacks, he counterattacked, and if not for Liu Feng's reaction, he would have managed to injure Li Xin with his huge clawed hand. Seeing that Liu Feng, even with the help of Li Xin, cannot cope with the giant mutant zombie, the High Priestess began shouting that everyone should see this because it was a miracle. After all, in this world, they will be able to evolve again. She called on everyone to lay down their weapons and invited everyone to become one. But Liu Feng didn't think so, and you understand that she controls all the zombies in this building. He decided to destroy her. Using his cyber hand, he shot at her. The High Priestess realized that Liu Feng realized that she was controlling that big guy and the other zombies on the floor, so she exposed one of the zombies to his flying fist of death. Then she said that he was a fool if he thought that he could get rid of her so easily. After all, she is the only one who can control the zombies in this world. God himself gave her this gift. Liu Feng was upset that he could not kill her, but he learned that while they were fighting, she called zombies for protection. Meanwhile, she continued to praise herself, saying that she was the will of heaven. After which she again ordered her huge zombie, a mutant with pincers instead of a hand, to attack Liu Feng. At that moment, Liu Feng knew that he only had one last blow left, and a technique he hadn't used yet. He understood that he could not give up, because somewhere in this prison there was also his sister Xin Tun, who was also fighting somewhere. Meanwhile, On the other side of the prison, Shin Tong and the sniper were in the room where the heart of all these bloody veins was. It was a monster that looked like a heart, but at the same time had a head and a mouth that made sound signals, thanks to which she transmitted hallucinations to people's heads. After which this creature enveloped Shin Tong with its long tongue. Seeing that this creature had wrapped its long tongue around Shin Tong and was trying to devour her, the sniper, without thinking for a long time, shot off her tongue to save Liu Feng's younger sister. Freed from the tongue of this monster, Shin Tong was very upset because she was covered in monster slime. Literally a moment after that, she became furious. Shaking herself off the slime of this monster, she ran in a rage to tear it to shreds. Shin Tong mercilessly vomited and cut off the treasured vein, making her way to this monster. Realizing that his end was about to come, the monster decided to shed his bloody eggs. Smoothly touched the ground, the eggs broke, and small jellyfish with teeth began to crawl out of them. These bloody creatures crawled towards the zombies, which were hanging in cocoons on the walls, crawling into them, thereby awakening them. It seemed that Shin Tong would now destroy this heart monster, and everything would stop because of the defensive reactions of this monster. The room was filled with dozens of zombies, thereby complicating the elimination of the heart monster. The sniper could not understand what was happening and where Shin Tong had gone, since the number of zombies was growing every moment, and he did not even have time to kill them. Before starting this ill-fated mission 3 days ago at L's hideout, Liu Feng decided to redesign and improve his weapon by making it a 2-pole cannon. A Class B double-pole cannon. Its first function was the ability to convert force into a lightning bolt. The second function was that the tip was covered in flames and gave a +1 to the ability to cut living creatures, and not only. There was also a third function. This was a forced mode of combining lightning with fire. The High Priestess did not believe in Liu Feng's victory, so she asked him not to resist, since no person has the power to resist God. Liu Feng ignited his weapon, and with all the strength he had, jumped into the air to fly as high as possible for his final blow. He stuck his double-pole cannon right between the ribs of the zombie, a giant. The zombie counter-giant attacked and hit Liu Feng with all his might, causing him to fly very far back. The girls were worried about him, asking if everything was fine with him, to which he answered with a smile that his plan was a success. His plan actually worked, thanks to the fact that he exposed himself to attack. He was able to stick his weapon into the body of a mutant zombie, after which he activated a forced strike from a distance. Thanks to this technique, the mutant zombie was torn into small pieces. The High Priestess was very saddened by what happened because she never expected this, being completely sure that her mutant zombie could not be defeated. While the High Priestess was in a state of panic and horror, Li Xin and Zixuan shot all the zombie guards and, pointing their guns straight at her face, ordered her to raise her hands and kneel down. Kneeling down with tears in her eyes, the High Priestess accused them of being simply blasphemers because they dare not insult the High Priestess of monotheism. Liu Feng, seeing her in this state, said what a cultist she was, and whether she believes him or not, he will kill her right now. The High Priestess got angry, saying that she has the vicious Mother of God 7, which is the strongest source of infection, and it is right behind the wall. A little more and the entire area will be contaminated with it, after which, after a couple of minutes, the entire building will be filled with zombies. And soon they will become food for her zombies. Suddenly, after what she said, the wall behind her began to crumble. The wall collapsed due to a creature that broke through this wall with its body. This creature was the same vicious Mother of God 7 that the High Priestess spoke about. Suddenly, a moment later, Shin Tong, Liu Feng's younger sister, appeared in this passage holding the bloody head of the vicious Mother of God 7 in her hand. After the High Priestess saw Shin Tong, she immediately mistook her for a goddess. Shin Tong was worried that the baked goods would ruin the dress her brother gave her. But after she saw her brother, she immediately rushed to him, throwing her arms around him. After 1 minute of caressing and hugging, Liu Feng turned to the High Priestess, saying that now it was her turn. Shin Tong was up to something at that moment. Her eyes glowed bright red, and at the speed of light she jumped at the High Priestess with thoughts of how she would kill her. At least that's what it seemed at first glance. But Shin Tong saddled the high priestess, saying that she was bad and should quickly apologize, after which she will be her horse. The high priestess immediately asked for forgiveness and said that she agreed to be the goddess's horse. Liu Feng was shocked to see his younger sister subdue the high priestess. When suddenly his phone rang, it was Kelly. She called him, informing him that the rats he had assigned her to catch were caught in a trap. Liu Feng asked who she discovered. Kelly said she found the spies and unearthed the group behind them. It was a community in the metro. They are already in the hospital and will soon descend into the underground city, she said. She also prepared a powerful blow for them. Liu Feng said that Kelly should not do anything until he returns. Meanwhile, Shin Tong was punishing the high priestess for everything she had done and the troubles she had brought upon her brother. Liu Feng decided to look through the system to look at the high priestess's file. And I learned that her name was Setria. Thanks to her mutation, she can control zombies. Currently the only one discovered with the ability to brainwash. Liu Feng understood that she had excellent skills, but he did not dare trust her yet. While the younger sister was having fun with Satria, Liu Feng absorbed Ti Khan's tentacles, thereby gaining a new technique called a cyborg-robot combo strike. While Liu Feng was considering the possibilities of his new technique, a combined strike from a cyborg robot, a sniper came out of the destroyed walls, and when he saw Liu Feng, he was surprised, just like Liu Feng. Li Xin was amazed to see him because he was the Purple Falcon, Lun Xuan, and Shin Tong said that it was he who helped her defeat the Mother of God. Lun Xuan also recognized Li Xin as the goddess of death, asking her if she had joined them or was still working for the government. Li Xin said that he killed 10 civilians in Yaksu and was nicknamed Yaksu, the executioner. He didn't even spare children. Then he was court-martialed, which is why he ended up in this prison. Lun Xuan turned around and was about to leave when suddenly Liu Feng called him. No matter what Li Xin said, Liu Feng remembered Lun Xuan saying that he was entering Varna for only one reason, because a man must fall on the battlefield and give his life for his homeland. Lun Xuan left with the thoughts that he must find out what happened then, what controlled him in that village. Suddenly Liu Feng said that he trusted him and asked him to join his hideout. Despite the fact that Li Xin said that he could not be trusted, Liu Feng was willing to bet that if he agreed to join, he would know the whole truth. Because Liu Feng did not believe that the person who said that phrase at school back then could have done something bad. Lun Xuan agreed to join, but only for a while, after which he asked them to follow him to show where the partially surviving police were located. Liu Feng then asked the system to evaluate Long Xuan. After analyzing all the data, the system answered that he is a silent fighter of the highest class, victim of a fabricated case. Every day he lives in remorse. Li Xin was not happy with Liu Feng's decision, but he asked her to believe him because he guessed that Long Xuan had some secrets and circumstances, after which they set out to rescue Zixuan's colleagues. At the same time, the metro community, the small military community of the Azure Sea Bay, reached the gate of the Shelter L that their spy spoke about. After they were able to easily open the main entrance and saw that there was no guard there, they decided not to wait or think, but to simply enter and kill everyone who was in the bunker, and get all the food and weapons supplies. They didn't even have time to take one step beyond the gate when suddenly one of them had his head torn open with just one well-aimed shot. It was an accurate sniper shot, and all thanks to the fact that Liu Feng returned to the base and immediately surrounded the people of the metro community. In response to this, a detachment of the metro community opened fire with all their guns. Liu Feng immediately offered to surrender, since his people were around and everywhere. But, as one of the raiders said with a grin on her face, the metro community does not give up. But literally. After a couple of minutes, they said that they were surrendering and asked for a ceasefire. Liu Feng asked them why on earth they would do this, and why they weren't going to give up before. Then he asked if their community even knew that they had decided to act alone, to which they replied that they themselves, the active detachment, the main headquarters, do not know about this. Liu Feng thought, and decided to first take them prisoner and ask for information, generalization, and then forced to work for a shelter as atonement for his guilt. Meanwhile, Zixuan pointed her gun at the high priestess, saying that this bitch, along with her monstrous ones, had killed so many of her colleagues. She really wanted to kill her. Speaking of which, the Mother of God alone ate more than 10 guards. Only 4 are left alive.